And we are back at it again with another chess game on the road to 1000 ELO. Last game we had gotten over the 600 mark, which is big. You know, we get 60% of the way there, so that's big. And he is opening up. He's a Frenchman, Etienne 214 from France. And he's opened up pretty aggressive. He got his queen out. He wanted to see if he could get an early mate. And this is the danger of that. He can get this bishop onto this square. And then there's some mating opportunities. And yeah, we're going to kick the queen out. I really don't like to have piece, especially the queen, the most dangerous piece in the game, that far onto my territory with all those options, especially with how little movement I have with the king. So that's something big. Now he'll probably offer me up a trade where we take queen for queen. I'd have to take it because he'd have me pinned. Yeah. And I'm going to do that now. Yeah. And he's going to take back with his knight. And it's not the best situation because he's got a knight on my half of the board, and he's got a lot of opportunities, but it's probably the best we can do, and we can force him to move here. He's probably gonna have to move back here or here, and then we're gonna start to develop our pieces. But so far, it's a pretty even game. ETN 214 is a 634 ELO. I'm a 603, which means he is. Usually, I'm not a big fan of trading, but especially when they're on my territory, like the queen and the knight were, I don't mind it. And yeah, it's pretty even matchup so far. He's up one pawn, but for the most part, it's pretty even. Neither one of us really have any development. Both of his bishops are active. I don't really have any active pieces, but he's not threatening anything. Back to the ELO. So the road to 1000 obviously is the goal. And once you get above 1000 ELO, you're I would say at that point that's when you get to being a pretty advanced player at that point. You know, that's in the top 10% of players, and that's the goal. So I get 11 points if I win. Excuse me. I lose 10 points, so I'd even be fine with a draw. And what he's doing here is he is threatening. It's a bit of a tricky move because if I castle and defend this rook, which he's threatening, then he takes that. And that is what I'm going to do because I have this knight to defend. So if he wants to trade again, we can do it. I feel confident in the end game. And yeah, usually you'd like, you know, if you start out as white, you definitely need to work on the development. And now he is threatening. Okay. So he's threatening to take. It's a bit of a tricky situation because if I let him take here, oh, you know, I've got a better move. So what he wants me to do, he wants me to move off here, which I'm gonna give him. Yeah, that's what we're gonna get into. So we're gonna move here. If he takes, then I fork, and I end up winning material. He takes 3 points. I take, well, it's probably not the best move because after I take the rook, then he takes that piece. So he'd actually end up winning that exchange. So I won't be doing that. I thought it made sense at the time of the move. And he is actually defending this up here. And he's defending this piece. That was a pretty quality move. And we are going to... I need to get this piece out of the way. I guess the best way to get out of the way is to offer it up in a trade again. You know, I don't like to keep trading. But a draw gets me 1 point. A draw gets me up 1 point. So at the end of the day, especially as black, if you're the inferior player, which mathematically I am at this point, and you are, it doesn't matter which way I take. It's probably the best. If you're the inferior player, and he is threatening, this probably makes the most sense because we can get the pawns. You don't usually want to have pawns doubled up because they don't do much. It's better to have two pawns than none, but they're not super effective. He's got two. He's up one pawn, but it's not the best setup for him. And yeah, what I was saying is, you kind of have to know your situation as well. If you're playing, and right now I'm not in a losing situation, but if you're in a losing situation, you should be shooting for the draw. If you're in a significant losing situation, I'm down one pawn right now, but I'd say we're pretty even in terms of who's in a better spot. Now he's getting pretty. So anything that he can force here. So he's threatening to take this, and I don't have a good defense for it. Yeah, he's probably just gonna take it. There's not much I can do. It's probably the best move right here is to take the pawn. He's gonna take that pawn. Really, the only thing I'm worried about right now is he's got two pawns, obviously. He's got this bishop on the dark squares. He's got the rook. And he's got them lined up. So what could he get into here? He goes here. I take. So he goes there. Wait, if he goes there, then I take, and then he tries to back rank, but I've got that. Yeah, you know what? We're not really in any imminent danger here, but I would like to open up an escape hatch. If you're castled, and yeah, that's the piece I thought he would take. And, unfortunately, there really isn't. So if we offer up, but he's up 2 points of material now. Yeah, I think it's best I trade here and try to get into a draw. I don't think I've got a good enough position to win this. So I think in this game, I'm 2-0 in games I have commentated here. I went from I think 579 all the way up to 603. Okay. And he's just moving out of the way there. He took another pawn. And there really isn't much I can threaten, honestly. I guess I just take the pawn here. Yeah, I don't have a lot of good options here. I still am in this corner somewhat insulated because he can't really break through this. He doesn't have... Now, if he starts to... Okay, so obviously he knows I'm going to move. Well... Would it make sense to... Is there anything exotic we can get into here? Yeah, I think it makes sense to force him to move his rook. Or if he's gonna, he might. I'm curious because we need kind of a Hail Mary here to get the win, and this move could cause him some problems. If he takes, I take, He's going to take back with the king. And then he's probably thinking, I'm going to take back. I'm going to get into a check here. I don't know. It's still... okay, so he moved out of the way. And I'm also going to move out of the way unless there's something I don't see. Yeah, I'm just going to take a step here. And honestly, if we could get this pawn on c6 out of the way, could possibly get a mate in here. But this pawn's really causing me trouble. And honestly, the best move for him, he probably needs to push these. If he pushes these, he can create a lot of problems. Even though he's up 2 points of material, and he's definitely in a more offensive position here with these 3 pieces versus my 3 pieces. We've got the same pieces, and he's got 2 more pawns, and he's got, yeah. So he's threatened to take. He's threatened to check. So if he checks, I take, and then he. Does he have anything here? So if he goes here, I take, and he takes. Huh. Okay, so what he wants to do. I don't. He comes all the way down. Okay, so if he moves here, I take, he takes. That doesn't make any sense for him. I don't really know what the point of that move was. To be honest, I guess he's trying to threaten this, but I don't see why I don't just push. When in doubt, push your pawns. If there's not a good move. That's what he should be doing. He needs to create some problems here. You obviously don't want to give it because he can check me here and kind of weaken the fortress, but it doesn't make sense to give up a rook, especially when you're up. But yeah, he really should be moving, especially where he's got 2. He can just sacrifice 1, and then for just a strategic advantage, a little bit of a tempo. And yeah, I think my best course of action is to just keep pushing this pawn, and maybe we can get it all the way to the back rank. But there's not much offensively I can do here. I can go up here if I move the rook to b8 and try to get into this file, but I won't have. It's going to take me to. Okay, so now he is. Yeah, he's once again trying to take this piece, but I mean, I don't see what he's trying to get. What he's trying to get done here. Now, my question for him would be, and I guess I could ask him, but I'm not gonna because you guys won't be able to see the chat down here. I wonder if he's playing for a draw as well. I wonder if that's what he's looking at. I mean, if you start out and you're white and you got the higher elo, I mean, a draw doesn't make that much sense. So now what is he threatening? He's threatening here. So he's threatening. Okay, so what he's looking to get here. And is there a way that we can stop that? I can't go here because he takes. But what is he? Oh. You know how I can defend it? I didn't even see this. If I push the pawn again, this bishop, and I don't think he doesn't see it, but he's going to take and try to get me in a mate with both of these on the next move, but he doesn't see that this. Okay. And now he's threatening. Okay. So he's threatening to take this piece. And okay, so we've got some options here. We can let him take it and get here and move the rook below him, so he's either forced to take, and then I get on this file, or we can. So what are the options here? So if we move the rook one spot to the right, he can take this piece, but that's not going to make sense because I take and he loses material. But he'll probably take the rook, and then I take back, and then it's his move, so he can't check me. He can't. I think so we really got two options. We can move the bishop here and threaten his rook, or we can. I think this is the best move. Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. He can take with that. Great. Great. I finally saw that. Yeah. So this is going to be the best move, probably. Probably. Wow. Is he really? Okay. So before I just take it, he is going to. I think that was a bad move on his part. I think it was. I don't even know if he saw that. I don't know if he. I mean, I was right next to it, so I don't know how he wouldn't. But we are up 3 points, and look, he can take it back, so we're not really up 3 points. But we're tied. We're tied in a late game situation with a little bit of life. We got a pawn 2 spots from promotion. I mean, quite the turnaround. I was playing for the draw, and I would still accept the draw to get closer to my 1,000 ELO goal. Rome wasn't built in a day. Okay, so now he is trying to. Wow. So I'm going to take, and he's going to take back, and then I'm going to get this bishop active in defending. This is a. Unless that doesn't make sense for me, but. This is an absolute late game blunder by him. I mean, this is a disaster. I'm 4 points. He should have taken back, and probably he could have got that game drawn out. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I don't. And now we are 1 spot, and he can't take it. That move doesn't get him anything. I'm on the white square, so this. He's got to get this rook up here and over here. Wow. And maybe I'm getting greedy here, but I'm going for the win. I am going for the win. And I am going to. Yeah, I think I can get my rook over here, get him up here. And I think we're going to win this game. We're up 4 points of material. We've got a pawn deep in enemy territory. And we're up a rook. And he doesn't really have a great. I mean, this one, it's not really uncontested. This pawn, I mean, he takes there. And what is he looking at? We got to be careful here. He can take this. I'm not going to give it up, obviously. Yeah, I think we just push it back here and defend it with the king himself. Okay. So he's trying to cause some problems there, but it's not a winning strategy for him. And yeah, we're looking to get active. I'm looking to get all the way back up here and then promote. And you got to be careful, though. I mean, he is, yep, as I said, you do have to be careful as he is pretty close. And now he is threatening, obviously. And we do have a few options here. So if we go here, then he comes down. That doesn't get him anywhere. Or he can come across. Yep, and we are going to just step out of the way. Which, as I was saying, you got to be careful in these situations. You can kind of take your foot off the gas when you think you got a game in the bag, which it looks like through I guess I did the wayward. Oh, I didn't do the wayward queen attack. He did the wayward queen attack, but just through pure relentlessness, it looks like I'm gonna get the job done here. And he's got a sidestep, and we are gonna try to get the king away from the. And look, it's fine if the king can't take. Yeah, he's probably gonna resign soon. I think he's probably realized his fate. The French lose to the. Let's make sure there's nothing happening, but the French lose to the Americans. I'm representing the country. Well, Zipper defeats ETN. But maybe he's got something. Maybe he's got something. You don't want to celebrate too soon. You don't want to get into a stalemate, so you got to be careful. But it looks like it's in the bag. And it looks like we'll be going to 6-14, which would be 3 straight wins on the YouTube chess channel, which is phenomenal. But we got to seal it off. He's taken a long time, Well, actually, I've taken longer than him, so I can't talk. But he's trying to see if he can find something creative. And you know what? I'm going to look for him. I'm going to look for him and see if there's anything he can do. So, a check here. Well, no, he can't do anything. He's got to move the queen out of the way. So he's got that square, and that. Oh, he can't go here. So he's got to go to E2 or E3. Yeah, he's only got 2 options. Oh, he can't go to E3. So he's only got one option, which is E2. And yeah. And once he moves to E2, then yep. And then he has resigned. And I am at 6-14. He is now at 6-25. So I guess technically he's still a better player, at least statistically. We're going to look at the game review. So ETN is on the left. He is white. I am Zipper. And as we can see, he was all the way 75% through the game. He was projected to win. He was projected to win by a decent margin. This looks like probably 70%. And I just kept nudging away. And then we ended up getting the win. I had an 80% accuracy. He had a 71% accuracy. Game rating. I said I want to get to 1,000 ELO. I played like a 1250. And they juice up your numbers. But still a pretty solid game. I had 2 best moves. I had 1 mistake, 3 inaccurates, and he had 2 blunders, and that looks like it is the difference in the game. But we are going to see. We are going to start the review and see where the game really changed. So this bar on the left, this is the point spread, if you watch sports. That's the point spread. But probably multiply it by 2. Multiply it by 2, and that's the point spread. So he's favored by 7 points right now, which means I can still win, but it's pretty sizable. So that was a mistake. I disagree. I disagree with the computer. And yeah, this was a bit of a rocky point in the game because he's got a lot of offensive options, and I was just looking to hang in there. And let's see where really went downhill for him. So up until this point, pretty deep into the game, this was where I was hoping for a draw. Just keep making the right moves. Then he makes the blunder. So he moves his pawn there, and then I take advantage by taking the rook. So what should he have done? What should he have done in that situation? I believe that's a good move, because I take, he takes, and he would have still been up there. So that looked like it was his. Can we get to the moves? That looked like it was his blunder. And then from there, yeah, so once I took, then I had the lead, and then I just kept marching forward. And that was another blunder. I wonder why. So up until this point, apparently he's still a chance, from bad to worse. Alrighty, guys, well, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more on the road to 1,000.